Angela Simmons is done with Gotti. Glo is out here calling him her new sweet daddy. The receipts are messy. The shade is real. And trust me, this drama is about to flip the industry upside down. You're not ready for these details. Let's get into it. So here's what nobody's talking about, but everybody's thinking. Angela Simmons and Gotti are officially done. And I mean done. No dramatic Instagram announcements, no conscious uncoupling press releases. It's just complete and total silence that honestly says more than any statement ever could. Now, if you're sitting there confused about when this even happened, you're not alone. This breakup was quieter than a library at midnight, which is honestly shocking considering how public this man made his pursuit of Angela for literally a decade. Let's recap this wild journey, shall we? Gotti spent 10 years chasing Angela Simmons like she was the holy grail of relationships. We're talking about a man who made his romantic interest in her practically part of his brand identity. Instagram comments, interviews, music references. This guy was more consistent in his pursuit than most people are with their gym membership shares, where it gets absolutely ridiculous. After years of Angela politely declining, deflecting, and basically giving every signal short of hiring a skywriter to spell out not interested, she finally decided to give this man a real chance. We're talking about the 2023-2024 timeframe one. She actually started entertaining the idea of them being together. So what happens next? What does Mr. I've been waiting my whole life for this moment do when he finally gets what he's been begging for? He loses interest faster than a kid with a new toy on Christmas morning. The irony is so thick you could cut it with a knife. Angela basically confirmed what we all suspected without saying his name. Her recent social media activity has been telling a whole story. Posts about knowing your worth, moving forward from situations that don't serve you. And let's be honest, the globe photos speak louder than words. When a woman starts posting like that, something went down. She's been dropping subtle hints that she's done with whatever drama was happening behind the scenes. The second Angela went from being the unattainable dream to the actual girlfriend, his whole energy shifted. Classic case of a man who was more in love with the chase than the actual person. And Angela, she handled this whole situation with more class than he deserved. No messy social media drama, no passive-aggressive posts, just pure dignity in moving forward. Meanwhile, everyone watching this unfold is thinking the same thing. She dodged a massive hit. But here's where the story takes a turn that nobody saw coming, according to multiple reports that are starting to surface. The reason behind Gotti's sudden change of heart isn't just commitment issues or getting bored. Sources are suggesting there's someone else in the picture, someone who's been right in his inner circle entire time. And when I tell you who the reports are pointing to as the reason for this whole mess, you're going to understand why Angela's social media has been screaming, "I'm better off without this drama energy." Because we're talking about his own artist, and this situation is about to get messier than anyone could have predicted. The man who spent a decade chasing Angela allegedly threw it all away for someone who's literally on his payroll. Let's break down this timeline because the math is not mathing in a good way. GloRilla signed to CMG, started getting unusually close to the boss, and suddenly, Angela's posting cryptic messages about knowing when to walk away. Coincidence? I think not. And listen, we've all seen how Glo talks about Gotti in interviews. There's grateful artists respecting her label head energy. And then there's whatever this is. The way she lights up when discussing their working relationship has people raising eyebrows, and for good reason. But here's where it gets really interesting. Remember when GloRilla suddenly showed up with a brand new nose? A nose job that definitely wasn't cheap and definitely happened right around the time she started getting extra close to her boss. Now, I'm not saying gotta paid for it, but the timing is suspicious enough to make anyone with functioning brain cells start connecting dots. And the nose job was just the beginning. We're talking designer bags, jewelry, trips that definitely aren't standard CMG artist perks. when you compare how Glo gets treated versus other artists on the label. The difference is so obvious it's almost insulting to our intelligence. Look at how other CMG artists interact with Yodi. It's professional, respectful, business-focused. Then look at Glo's dynamic with him. The body language, the inside jokes, the way she gets special access that other artists didn't. It's giving more than just business vibes, and everyone in the industry can see it. The streets started talking, blogs started investigating, and suddenly this whole Angela situation makes perfect sense. You don't just lose interest in someone you chased for 10 years unless something or someone else captures your attention completely. And GloRilla. She's been moving like someone who knows she's got the boss wrapped around her finger. Meanwhile, Angela saw writing on the wall and said, "I'm not about to compete with an employee for a man's attention." Smart woman, honestly. Now, here's where this story gets really messy. And I mean really messy, because what we're about to discuss isn't speculation or rumors. This is GloRilla telling on herself. She has literally gone on record with some of the most problematic relationship takes I've ever heard. And it explains everything about this situation. GloRilla has openly stated that she doesn't see cheating as a red flag. She sees it as a green light. Let that sink in for a moment. While most people consider infidelity a relationship deal breaker, she's out here treating it like a welcome mat. She's basically said that if a man cheats, just means he's available for her to pursue. This isn't me twisting her words or taking things out of context. She has literally said that other women's relationships don't concern her. And if a man is willing to step out, then he's fair game. The audacity is astronomical, but it gets worse. So much worse. Here's the kicker that makes this whole situation even more twisted. GloRilla has also been very open about her first serious relationship where she got cheated on and it absolutely destroyed her. She's talked about going through hell, feeling betrayed, having her trust shattered, the whole 9 yards. She described the pain of being cheated on as one of the worst experiences of her life. Said it changed how she views relationships, made her question her worth, all the typical trauma that comes with infidelity. So you'd think someone who experienced that level of pain would have empathy for their women going through the same thing. Right? Wrong. Instead, she's turned that trauma into a twisted justification for causing the same pain to other women. It's like she decided that, since she suffered, everyone else should. The logic is completely backwards and honestly pretty disturbing when you think about it. And this isn't her first rodeo with taken men, allegedly. There's a clear pattern here that goes back way before Gotti. Social media receipts show she's had situations with men who were very much in relationships, and each time her attitude has been the same. Not her problem, not her responsibility. But let's be completely honest here. This relationship was problematic from day one. And we all saw the red flags waving like we were at a NASCAR race. The Angela and Gotti situation wasn't some beautiful love story that got ruined by a homewrecker. This was a toxic dynamic that was bound to implode eventually. Think about it. What kind of healthy relationship starts with 10 years of someone refusing to take no for an answer? Gotti's romantic pursuit was actually a masterclass in not respecting boundaries. When someone says they're not interested, continuing to pursue them isn't romantic. It's with a good PR team. And Angela's body language throughout this whole decade told a completely different story than what Gotti was selling in interviews. Whenever his name came up, she had this look, the one that please change the subject energy that every woman recognizes. She was polite. Butch was clearly uncomfortable with the constant public pressure because that's what this was, a public pressure campaign. Gotti made his pursuit so public that Angela was basically being peer pressured by the entire internet to give him a chance. Comments on her posts, Todd fans asking why she wouldn't date him. Think pieces about how she should appreciate his persistence. The man weaponized social media to wear her down. Then there's the obvious power imbalance that nobody wanted to acknowledge. Gotti is a successful label owner with industry connections. And Angela, while successful in her own right, operates in overlapping circles. Saying no to someone with that kind of influence, it left a lens, especially when they're making it a public spectacle. When they finally did start appearing together publicly, the dynamic was still off. Watch their body language in photos and videos. It never looked natural or comfortable. It looked like Angela was going through the motions while Yodi was living out his fantasy, completely oblivious to her actual feelings. People in the industry were citing this whole situation from the beginning. The age difference, the power dynamic, the way it started. None of it sat right with people who actually knew what was happening behind the scenes. But everyone stayed quiet because on paper, it looked like a successful man finally getting his dream girl. And we've seen this story before. A persistent man wears down a reluctant woman, gets what he wants, then loses interest when the chase is over. It's a tale as old as time, and it never ends well for the woman who finally gives in to the pressure. Looking at Angela now, post-breakup, she looks lighter, happier, like a weight has been lifted off her shoulders. That tells you everything you need to know about what that relationship was really like behind closed doors. Sometimes the best things that can happen to you is the person you thought you wanted showing you exactly who they really are. Now, let's talk about the business side of this mess. Because what Gotti is doing isn't just morally questionable, it's professionally stupid. There's an unwritten rule in the music industry that every successful label head knows. You don't get romantically involved with your artists, period. It's business 101. And there are very good reasons why. We've seen this movie before and it never ends well. When label executives start mixing business with pleasure, it creates a toxic work environment, legal nightmares, and inevitably damages the label's reputation. Look at what happened with other industry situations. The lawsuits, the public drama, the artists leaving because they can't trust leadership anymore. Right now, GloRilla is making CMG money. Her streams are up. Her features are in demand. She's hot in the streets. But what happens when that changes? What happens when her 15 minutes are up? Or when she decides she wants more control? Or when this whole relationship inevitably goes south? Because here's the reality. Music careers are run predictable. Today's hot artist is tomorrow's remember when, and when GloRilla's numbers start declining. Or when she gets tired of being the boss's side piece. Or when she decides she wants to start her own label. What then? Yodi will have burned bridges with Angela, damaged his professional reputation, and potentially lost his biggest current moneymaker, all in one move. The music industry is littered with cautionary tales of artists whose careers imploded because of personal drama with their labels. When business gets personal, objectivity goes out the window. Decisions stop being made based on what's best for the music and start being made based on emotions, jealousy, and relationship drama. And let's talk about the other artists on CMG who are watching this whole situation unfolds. How comfortable do you think they feel knowing their boss makes major business decisions based on who he's allegedly sleeping with? How secure do they feel in their contracts knowing that personal relationships apparently override professional obligations? The whispers in the industry are already starting. Other labels are watching. Other artists are taking notes. And CMG's reputation as a serious business operation is taking hits. When your personal life becomes industry gossip, it affects every deal you try to make, every artist you try to sign, every partnership you try to build. From a purely financial standpoint, this is a disaster waiting to happen. The potential legal issues alone, SH claims, hostile work environment lawsuits, contract disputes could cost some millions. And that's not even counting the damage to their ability to attract and retain top talent. Meanwhile, the most successful labels in the industry maintain strict professional boundaries precisely because they understand that mixing business with personal drama is a recipe for disaster. They've seen what happens when executives let their personal lives interfere with business decisions, and they've learned from other people's mistakes. You can already see the stress starting to show on Yodi's face. Managing a relationship with an employee while trying to run a business is exhausting, and it's only going to get worse because when this whole thing inevitably falls apart. And it will. He's going to be left dealing with the professional consequences of his personal choices. Now, let's talk about how Glo even got into this picture, because this signing story is actually more telling than anyone wants to admit. Back in April 2022, when Glo dropped FNF, Let's Go, the song exploded in just 3 days. We're talking about a complete unknown from Memphis, suddenly having one of the hottest tracks in hip-hop. Here's what's interesting about the timing. This was right around when Gotti was still publicly chasing Angela before they made things official in late 2022. So, while he's out here posting about his dream woman, he's simultaneously scouting new female talent for his label. Coincidence? Think not. By July 2022, Gotti had Glo on his private jet, handing her a CMG chain, a contract, and a bag with $500,000 cash. The whole signing was this elaborate production, champagne popping, her crew singing FNF, and Gotti playing the generous boss role to perfection. But here's what nobody talks about. Glo said herself that all the labels were calling after her song blew up. So why did she choose CMG? She claims it just felt right because they're both from Memphis. But let's be real about what was probably happening behind the scenes. Look at how other artists got signed to CMG versus GloRilla's royal treatment. Most artists get a standard contract signing, maybe a photo op. Glo got the full private jet experience, designer gifts, an immediate special treatment that had people raising eyebrows from day one. Gotti called her a natural-born star and said it was one of the quickest rises he'd seen in his career. But was he really just talking about her music? Because the way he was showering her with gifts and attention from the jump suggested this was more Athonjo's business potential. Within months of signing, Glo was posting about Chanel bags, designer shopping sprees, and calling Gotti the best CEO on the planet. This level of spoiling for a brand new artist was unprecedented, even for CMG standards. The timeline is suspicious when you orally break it down. Gotti signs GloRilla in July 2022, starts the excessive gift-giving immediately, and doesn't make things official with Angela until December 2022. It's like he was keeping his options open while still pursuing his dream woman. All in all, Angela dodged a hit. GloRilla thinks she won a prize, and Gotti is about to learn karma's lesson the hard way. The streets are watching, and this mess is far from over. What's your take? Drop those comments below.